BeyondATC is approaching early access, you guys. It is finally on its final approach. Stick around to find out more. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkill's tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below.
Overkill simulations, watch us as we fly. Overkill simulations, the thrill will never die.
All right, you guys. So first off, I want to give a big shout out to Cap and the team for BeyondATC announcing that early access is on arrival, guys. It is not quite announced yet, but it will be soon. And that's all I'm allowed to say at the moment, but soon is definitely soon. So keep that in mind. Secondly, make sure that you guys check out a link in the description below to Cap's full video breaking down exactly what to expect upon BeyondATC's release. Now, I'm going to talk about some of my personal experiences with it in case you guys haven't heard of it before and seen any of my videos. I do have multiple videos using BeyondATC. We'll actually be releasing another one later this evening, so be on the lookout for that. But make sure you guys check out Cap's video. Again, a link to that will be down in the description below, you guys. It gives you a full expectation of what to believe, or what to expect, what to believe. But I'm going to sort of do a short recap and again talk about some of my experiences with it and what my thoughts on BeyondATC are. Now, first off, when I talk about my thoughts on BeyondATC, people, tend to think, well, you're biased, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about that in a minute here, but let's get into first what BeyondATC is. So BeyondATC is a scripted software, okay, meaning that it does use a list of calculated responses based on the information that's provided to it. However, it does use AI to generate the voice responses and basically assess what you have said and select the appropriate response based on that course of action or course of request. So for example, things like you can request an altitude change, and if you do not request the correct altitude based on your direction of flight, ATC will come back and tell you, no, I can't give you that. You're going the wrong way for, whether it be an even or odd number. Cap does a really good job displaying that in his video. So make sure you guys check that out under the, video that he's done. So far, one of my biggest things that I really enjoy about BeyondATC is how smooth the responses are. And I think that is one of the advantages to not using a full AI generated service, such as Say Intentions, which, by the way, guys, Cap also goes in to sort of do a sort of high level comparison between the two, and nothing but respect for Say Intentions. They're both great, absolutely fantastic pieces of software. They just operate a bit differently, so keep that in mind. Make sure that you guys do your reviews on Say Intentions as well, and don't just jump on the first line here and decide which one's best for you. So one of the things with BeyondATC is that the responses are very, very quick. They're very, very calculated. And you can still do things like, I highly recommend that you guys on Cap's video, click the link in the description below and make sure you go to timestamp 17 minutes and 12 seconds. That will be, it will put a smile on your face, to say the least. At least it definitely put a very large smile on mine. So again, making it clear about the use of AI with BeyondATC. Cap, I hope I get this right. My understanding and the way it operates essentially is when we speak into the microphone or give BeyondATC a specific command, it uses AI to extrapolate that information and go through its thousands and thousands of possible responses to select the best one that is for you. And then, of course, there is an AI generated voice that reads that response back, and that's what we hear. But is it what I believe they call a full language based AI, like Say Intentions? No. So you can't ask it open-ended questions. Cat makes it another good example. You can't ask it what you had for dinner, things like that. It won't know how to respond to that. And there's pros and cons to both. One of the things that I do like that Cat pointed out was that particular process makes it very, very expensive to use that kind of AI service, and they wanted to make sure that something I have been reinforcing with everybody since I started coverage on BeyondATC was that they want to make sure that it is affordable to everybody and doesn't break the bank to use it. So kudos there. As far as what's going to be available upon launch of BeyondATC, let's sort of talk about that for a quick second here so you guys can get an idea on what the full feature list is going to look like. So you're going to have full IFR for jetliners and GA most anywhere in the world. I have done multiple IFR flights in both airliner and general aviation aircraft, and I haven't had a problem with any one. We're actually going to try something a little different today, actually, when we use BeyondATC, and we're going to be going very likely, I think we're going to hit a flight in the Caribbean and see how it handles that. You guys know I like to fly in the Caribbean. It's always a lot of fun flying out there. Haven't gotten to check out some of the new accents. And when I say new, I mean me. I always fly in the damn United States every time I use it. So anyway, moving on from there. 250 plus premium and basic voice with accents from the go around globe. Let's talk about the voices because I know that's something that's come up a lot. If you look at my last two videos on BeyondATC, and again, I will do one today. Today, we will probably be doing the premium voices, but the last two videos I did basic. Basic voices are free, meaning that you purchase the software, which I believe is going to be at $29.99 US. And then you get the basic voices for free. You never have to buy another voice pack again. If you wish to use the premium voices, they are charged per character. You start out with X amount of load, and then as that load expires, you would have to refill that if you want to use the premium voices. I want to be very, very clear on that because no matter how many times we say it, somebody always says, oh, so it's a subscription. Oh, no, it's not. The basic voices, which are very, very good, very, very authentic, very, very clear sounding still, are free. You buy the software, you get the basic voices, and then the premium voices, a bit better, a bit more smooth, a bit more natural. But again, you guys, I highly recommend you check out both of my videos. They are titled Basic and Premium under BeyondATC, so you can hear them. They're very similar, you guys. You get voice activation, button activation, meaning that you can select from a drop-down menu of the response that you wish to use, or you can have a co-pilot communicate with ATCs, basically like an auto respond. I've shown that in all of my videos as well. So you have three different methods by which to speak to it. Highly realistic FAA and ICAO phraseology. He has been working with the team has been working with a ton of air traffic controllers since BeyondATC's inception. I actually know one of the ATC operators that they've been working with. One of them is Jose over at the VR Pilot. Make sure you guys check out his YouTube channel. Does a really good job. And he's, I believe, out of Tampa now. So, again, they've been working with a lot of different ATC operators to make sure they get the phraseology and the responses correct. So this isn't stuff that they're just pulling out or using off of Google. They are working with the real operators of the world. Dynamic runway SID star selection based on winds. So as the winds and weather changes, your SID and star can change as well. PIREP, so weather reports, things like that from the pilot. Direct twos, you can request direct twos, altitude changes, and more, as we talked about previously, even right down to selecting a specific gate. Again, Captive's a great example of that in his video, where you can land at LA or somewhere like that and actually select an existing gate. Let's talk about the airports for just a second because I do want to give everyone a heads up on that. This is early access. So what does early access mean? Early access indicates that the software is user ready but incomplete. Make sure that you guys understand that. You are going to run into bugs, and one of the things that, again, I really appreciate in Cap's video that he points out is airports, and you guys have seen it in a few of my videos too. BeyondATC gets its information about the airport from the simulator. The simulator is going to get that information based on what scenery you are using, whether you're using the default scenery or third-party scenery. So if the third party, for example, if you have a third-party scenery and add-on scenery for, say, LAX, whatever, let's just stick with LA here. Let's put them on the map here. And the information about the gates or taxiways that is in that scenery is incorrect. Okay, it's all contextual data that is associated with the scenery by the developer. BeyondATC won't know what to do with that. So they're basically going to say that, you know, the information doesn't exist. They're going to go with the information it has, essentially is what it's going to do. And so if you look outside the window and there's a certain taxiway that shouldn't be there, that's what BeyondATC is still going to give you because it wants you to see what is actually outside, you know, the window, the same thing it sees. So understand that. There are going to be bugs there. There are going to be situations where, you know, sometimes things won't work. That is the nature of early access. So if you guys decide to join into early access, again, remember what early access is. Do not confuse it with beta. Early access does not mean beta. It means incomplete, but it does not mean that it's necessarily bug-ridden and broken all over the place. That is the whole point of a beta. Betas and alphas are usually described as, you know, another way that we've described in the software industry is bug hunts. Okay, you give it to a beta, you give to a selected group of people, and the objective is they want to find what's broken that maybe we can't, right? Okay, we as whoever the developer might be. Anyway, so early access means that you may still run into some issues. The product is ready to be used, but may not have all of the features that they want at the end of the completion, which is the case for BeyondATC, and we'll talk about those features to come in just a minute. Obviously, you get full let's try that again. You get full SimBrief integration, ILS approaches, visual approaches based on weather, vectors, and more. The vectoring model on this thing is absolutely cool. And you know what? We might actually do a different flight. Maybe we won't go to the Caribbean. Might find an approach that actually requires vectors onto the approach. We'll see. I'll decide what to do here in a little bit. And an ever-expanding list of custom user data, airport-specific standard operating procedures. So that's an epic thing, and we'll talk about that in another video because it's a whole different bag of worms. But basically, end users are able to also increase the information tables that exist within BeyondATC by submitting. But anyway, we'll talk about that later on. Now, what's not in there but is coming? Okay, so everything that we're about to talk about now is not currently in there, but will be. So traffic injection and control, you guys have seen highlights of that in the past, but they decided to push back onto the ATC portion, get it ready so that way we can have this early access version on its way here. So traffic injection and control is still being developed and will be added with BeyondATC. VFR flights, that comes up a lot. Yes, VFR is going to be developed. Yes, it is going to be something that is a part of BeyondATC, and yes, it is coming. Emergency procedures, can't really talk about that because I'm not sure what the limitations on emergency procedures are, but it is listed as something that is going to be developed and added to BeyondATC. But again, that could cover so many different possible scenarios that I don't want to highlight anything on that because I don't know where that begins and ends, right? It could be something as simple as an engine outage, or it may go all the way to whatever extreme emergency scenarios you guys can think of. Oceanic procedures, for those of you who don't know, there's entirely different procedures for crossing the ocean, so keep that in mind. It is not there yet. And then a VR interface. Let's talk about that one for a second. So the interface with inside of virtual reality does not currently exist. BeyondATC can absolutely be used with VR right out of the box. I could use it with VR right now. I just have to keep those earlobes open and pay attention to what it's saying. And worst case scenario, you miss a command, you didn't quite hear something right, you can A, tell ATC to repeat it. If you tell BeyondATC, Southwest 4310, please repeat last. It'll repeat its previous instruction to you. Okay. But if you need something that's text written down, you can, in the pinch, lift the VR headset and look at your BeyondATC GUI, and you will be able to see visually what the previous response was. So I know it's not ideal, but it is an option, right? So it can absolutely be used with VR. You have the option again to ask ATC to repeat the previous command, or you can just lift the headset and take a look at what the previous command was visually on your own. So really awesome stuff, you guys. Again, we do not have an exact release date yet, but I have been told by Cap, lead developer, that it will be announced soon. And guys, you guys have been asking this for a very long time. Early access, give it to me now, give it to me now. This is the first time in 2 years, or a year now, a year. Calm down, Mike, calm down. Don't get over exaggerate. In a year, that he has even mentioned early access to the public. So the fact that they're saying it, you can bet your money it's coming. So stay tuned for more information on that. To Cap and the rest of the team, congratulations. Also, guys, we'll be doing some live streams and be doing a few giveaways here coming up in the next week or two. So make sure that you guys stick around, watch the channel for live streaming. If you don't already, follow me on Twitch. I will likely be doing most of the streaming still on Twitch. I would love to be able to stream effectively on YouTube. My biggest issue with streaming on YouTube is that the chat is extremely delayed, and it always drives me crazy, but we'll see. We'll decide. But definitely follow me on Twitch. If you haven't yet, we're also going to be moving over to Kick, if that's something that you guys are interested in as well. I'll be posting that link in the description below. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.